Hello, good
Hello,
evening.
how are you?
Today I'm fine. I'm very happy to welcome Laurene Landon, actress and model and action figure, talking to us today on Meeting Venus. How are you,
I'm
Laurene?
doing
Nice
good,
to see you
thank you.
again.
How are you? Nice to
Fine,
see you.
everything's thank you. You're welcome. Everything is fine with you. Tell
Yeah,
me,
I
Laurene, before, yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
I'm sorry you're breaking up.
Yes. Can you hear me now? It's better?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, but it's breaking
very
up.
good. Yes, your voice is clear. I want to ask you, can you tell me? I know you began as in the modeling. Do you remember how did you enter the cinema career? Can you remind us about that?
I'm s- I'm sorry. How did I enter the what?
How your film career has begun and you entered the film industry?
I'm sorry, I can't understand.
Yes. Just a second. One, two,
I think you're too
three.
loud. I think.
Okay, maybe just a second. I'm gonna change the microphone. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is better right now.
If you could speak a little lower, I think I could
It's better.
understand.
Lower. Okay. It's better right now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I asked. Can you hear me right now? The voice.
That's too low.
So this is better. This is better.
Fuzzy, you want to get on camera? Fuzzy butt. That's one of my pit bulls.
Yes. Better right now. It's better right now. Can you hear me now? Better. Can you hear me now? It's better. It is better right now.
Yeah, that
Better.
sounds. Hmm.
Okay. Very good. Laureen, I want to ask you about your the beginning of your film career. How did it start? How did you enter the film industry?
Well, a couple of different ways. One was I used to watch black and white movies with my father, and God rest
Yes.
his soul. And he would always watch the great old black and white movies like Wuthering Heights and anything with Marlon Brando. And I always wondered what it would be like to be on the other side of the camera. And he really inspired me a
Yes.
lot, but he did not want me to get into the film industry at all.
Yes.
He did not. He was very angry that I got into the motion picture industry. He thought I would get hurt, and it was full of a bunch of salacious bad guys, and he was right to a degree, but I still I still pursued it. I started out as a model, and I was up in Las Vegas for the Miss Black Velvet pageant, and I didn't get it. But while I was up there, I met a fantastic casting director named Jackie Bascow, and she told me that at MGM they were casting a wrestling movie called All the Marbles, and originally it was with Paul Newman, and I thought, wow. And she said, because you're so athletic and because, you seem very shy, but that's what they're looking for. So when I came back down to Los Angeles, I met Reuben Cannon, the casting director, who immediately introduced me to Robert Aldrich, who I thought was Robert Altman, and I kept calling him Robert Altman. and his son, Robert Aldrich Jr., Bill Aldrich Jr., kept saying, my father's name is Robert Aldrich. And I said, well, who's that? You know, I was 20 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So from there, we did, they narrowed it down from 2,000 girls to four of us, actually. And Vicki Frederick and myself ultimately got it. But, you know, Kathleen Turner was one of their contestants, and so was Peter Falk's wife, Shira Denise. So there was a lot of competition going on. And what happened was the actors' strike hit, and Vicki Frederick and I continued wrestling during the actors' strike. So I think that really, really contributed a lot to us getting the roles. And a funny thing happened at the end of our training, the four of us, we were called in individually to see Robert Aldrich and the head of the studio and everybody involved. And I was first called in, and Robert Aldrich said, well, Alf, he always called me Alf, because Alf was somebody that ran, it was a senator, I believe, that ran for you know, the Senate. And he called me Alf, but when he was mad at me, he would call me Laurene. So when he called me Laurene, I knew I was in trouble. But that's how I got that role. And we wrestled for the head of the studio, everybody. And when they called me in, they said that Robert Aldrich was looking out the window, and he said, well, Alf, you did a great job. You worked really hard. You're a fantastic athlete, and your acting is fabulous. But, and I said, but you don't want me in your movie, right? You don't want me in your, and he said, of course I want you in my movie. You're in the movie, but you're not going to play the role of Molly or the role of Iris, which is the role I wanted to play. He said, you're going to play the role of Molly. And at first I was just stunned, and I said, you want me in your movie? Are you serious? So, you know, I was like 20 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just really scared. And he said, go outside and tell Vicki Frederick to come on in. And the other two girls had already gone in and went out a back door. And Vicki Frederick, he said, is going to get it as well. Go out and tell her she didn't get it. Just say, I'm really sorry, Vicki. It does not look good. So I went out and I told Vicki Frederick that, I'm sorry, Vicki, it does not look good. And she said, oh, no. And I didn't want to do it because I just didn't think it was right or fair. But I went out and said that to her. And then she went inside, and then I could hear her inside Robert Aldrich's office screaming, Laurene, I'm going to kill you! Because I had told her she didn't get it, basically. And so that's how I got the role. And Robert Aldrich said, you know, he did The Dirty Dozen and Hustle and The Longest Yard and some of the greatest movies of all time. He's considered one of the 5 top directors in the history of cinema. So it was quite an honor. And I kept waiting to get fired because, you know, you just can't believe that you're going to play a role in a major motion picture. And Paul Newman pulled out at the last minute because he was doing another film. And so Peter Falk became our manager for the film. And I think it would have made a lot more money if it was Paul Newman, but you know, I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to work in that movie. And it was about 8 months, and we had to wrestle every single day after we were filming. We had to keep wrestling. They set up a wrestling ring at MGM, and we had to keep wrestling and John Cassavetes used to come by, and I was obsessed with Peter O'Toole at the time. and they said he was coming to the set, and he was going to come in. He was going to read for not read was he was being considered for a movie, and but it was a trick. Everybody kept tricking me. I'm sorry, I need some water. It's not vodka. So they kept tricking me, and one day during lunch, um, so Bill Aldrich came up to me, and he's the only one who didn't lie to me. But everybody else said, "Oh, Peter O'Toole's here. Peter O'Toole's here." So when Bill Aldrich said, um, "Dad's in his office and Peter O'Toole is there," well, I dropped everything at lunch. We were all at lunch, and I knocked the table over completely, and I ran to Robert Aldrich's trailer, and I fell and I cut my knees really bad, and the EMTs were trying to take me to, to get some help, and I said, "No, no, no, just take me to Peter O'Toole." So I got to Robert Aldrich's trailer, and he said, "Alf, you just missed him, but he'll be back tomorrow." So while we were wrestling the next day on MGM stage 11, yeah, he Peter O'Toole showed up, and I was stunned. And he said, "You're doing a fantastic job." And Cassavetes was with him, and Cassavetes said, "You're so funny, you're so crazy, you're so unbelievable doing this, and your two frames out of sync." But I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I'm sure it was a compliment, insult. I don't know. I didn't care. So I started dating Peter O'Toole shortly after that, and we had a relationship for a little while. But as far as the movie goes, it was a fantastic opportunity, and believe it or not, it was number one in Egypt of all places. So um, when I went to the Cannes Film Festival, that's when they told me all the uppers at MGM were there. I've been to the I've been I've been there twice to the Cannes Film Festival, and it was quite
Yes,
the experience.
yes. They kept on repeating all the marbles every now and then in MGM in Cairo when I was a young man. I was 10 years old maybe when it came out, and they kept repeating it. Because especially because Peter Hook was a big star because of the Colombo series. We used to wait for it every week on Egyptian television, you know. And but I want to ask you, did you have the chance of watching Lawrence of Arabia when you during your
I'm sorry,
time with
did I
Peter
what?
O'Toole? Yeah. Did you have the chance of watching Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole? Lawrence
I'm
of
sorry.
Arabia.
I'm sorry you're breaking up.
Can you hear me? Yes, yes.
I
Can you?
hear you, but
Yeah,
it keeps breaking up.
yes. Can you see my
Mhm.
comments? Yeah, I'm writing you. Did you have?
Can you hear
Did
me?
you?
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes. Very well actually.
I'm good.
Very well actually. Yes, I asked you if you have seen Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole.
So you're in Ecuador right now, right?
Right, right, right,
Isn't that near
right.
Poland? Next door to Poland?
No, it's in
No, I'm
Latin
joking.
America.
I know. I'm being facetious. It's next door. It's next door to Peru and Colombia, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
I always wanted to go there.
Laureen,
Do you
yeah,
live there? Do you live there?
come and visit us anytime. Most welcome.
Oh, thank you. Oh, so you live there now. I thought you lived in Egypt.
Yeah, yeah. 2 years ago, we came back. My wife is from Colombia, so we came back here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For some reason, I thought you lived in
yes.
Egypt.
Yeah, yeah. I used to. I'm Egyptian,
Oh,
of course. I'm most of my life. 50 years in Egypt. Right now, I'm 52. Yes. Lauren, tell me about after all the marbles, you did a lot of action films.
oh yes, I did.
You remember that?
Yes, I did.
Yes, tell me,
All
what is the most character, your favorite character in your action roles or your favorite film
What's the
among the
favorite
movies?
film I ever did? Action movie?
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, well, there were a couple of them. I would say All the Marbles with Peter Falk, and because we had to do all the wrestling, we did over 2,000 stunts in the movie. But because there was so much footage that they were going to use it to make a sequel, we signed to do a sequel. In addition to that, after Robert Aldrich saw in the screening room, and I was there, and so was Vicky. He doubled our salaries in when we were watching the movie. He doubled our salaries, and I called my agent at the time, Tom Jennings, B. Kellen Jennings, and Tom Jennings said, "Oh yes, I approved it, and I'm the one who asked for it." And I said, "Well, that's kind of weird because they just told me now." And so, but he took the credit for it, but that's okay. But All the Marbles, and Hundra. The movie I did, Hundra in Spain, Almeria, Segovia. I got to do all my own stunts and jumping horses and bows and arrows, jumping off of buildings onto horses, and it was quite the experience. I loved making that movie, and I also loved going to Spain because I had never been there before, and these movies gave me an opportunity to travel places I've never been before. I would never go. I didn't have anybody to go with, so it was quite the experience, and to do all these stunts and um, Yellow Hair and the Fortress of Gold. We also shot that in Spain, and I did a lot of jumping horses and a lot of work on that, and I had a wonderful time doing that as well. I just love Spain. I love the people, and you know, what can I say? Those were the days, really. But I've done a lot of movies. America 3000, which is a crime against cinema, if you ask me. But I want to put a little.
Yes, sure.
I want to smell good for you. Anyway, so
Yeah, yes, yes. Tell me, you worked with many leading men. I mean, I remember in I the Jury with Armand Asante,
yes, I'm
very
on Sunday. Yeah.
accomplished. Yes, and Robert Argenti, and you worked with Bruce Campbell in Maniac Cup. You did two
Oh
films,
yeah,
right?
Maniac Cup 1 and 2. I
Tell me, yes, I want to ask you. For me, the 80s was a very rich period in production because at the time there was the VHS tapes, and action and sci-fi and horror films are really well made. I mean, as well, they used to have very creative idea. Okay, and compared to right now, we have a lot of platforms, streaming platforms, but I think it's not
yes.
creative like the era when you did all these action, horror, sci-fi stuff. What do you think about that yourself?
I'm sorry about what?
What do you think about the 80s and the 90s, the period you start in many action and sci-fi films? Do you think it was
Yes.
rich and creative, period? Yeah, during this period, the 80s and the 90s of the last century.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
Yeah, yes.
It's the
I
audio.
was asking,
I'm
can you hear
sorry.
me now, or it's better this way? It's better this way.
Uh,
Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes, yes, yes. I asked you. Do you think that the period you started in was very rich with creative production because you started in many films, sci-fi and horror and action, the 80s and the 90s, right after all the Marvels?
Oh yeah, yes. I went to Spain, like I said, to do Hundra, and then 6 months later, or 8 months later, I went back to do Yellow Hair, and I kind of boxed myself into a corner by doing action adventure films. And so the next film I did, oddly enough, was Airplane 2, where, I starred with
Yes.
everybody in Hollywood, basically. I played a Testa. I was one of the stewardesses in Airplane 2. And they shot enough footage for that for 3 movies. But I don't know what happened. We were supposed to do the sequel to that, and then we were going to do another one. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just don't know.
Yes. Laureen, tell me right now, um, you've been a long time in the film industry. Do you have like a dream project or a dream role you want to play right now?
Well, my dream role would be in a film opposite Tom Hardy. He's my favorite actor. He's so versatile,
Really?
and he reminds me so much of Marlon Brando, who I knew very very well because I lived with his son Christian for 10 years. So um,
Yes.
I think Tom Hardy is as good or better an actor than Marlon Brando. And I mean, to hear me say that, because Marlon Brando, who I considered my father, he gave me a lot of tips about acting. And he always told me to, vanilla. He always called me vanilla. He said, vanilla, always whisper so people have to lean forward. So he gave me a lot of tips, and he hated Hollywood. And but I used to go up to his house all the time up in Mulholland, 12900 Mulholland Drive, and we had a wonderful time. I absolutely adored him. He was like my second father. I called him Pop all the time.
Pop. Yes, yes.
Pop.
And you imitate him very well.
I'm sorry.
You imitate him very well. You sound like him very well.
He was an amazing human being. He had a shortwave radio, and he would talk to people all around the world. And he would say he was Dr. Brand. He would never say he was Marlon Brando ever. And he had 2 dogs, and they were vicious, but they were very kind. They were very loving to me. I guess they could sense people that love dogs. I rescue pit bulls for 21 years now, and um, I just really enjoyed going up to his house. I remember one Thanksgiving I went up there, and he was eating his dinner off of a plate on his stomach. He was eating his turkey dinner on his stomach, and he had all these scratcher tickets, and he gave us all one, everybody one, and we're all scratching them off, and he wanted to know from all of us at the table if we won, and everybody said no, and then he says, "Oh well, I won $1,000," and I said, "You did?" And he said, "Uh-huh." And he went around asking everybody, "Do you believe me? Christian, do you believe me? Rebecca, do you believe me?" And everybody said, "No, I don't believe you won $1,000." And I said, when he came to me, I said, "I believe that you did win." And he did win. He won $1,000. So everybody at the table went running toward him and trying to steal the ticket from him. And he said, no, 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 no. I won this fair and square, and this is my $1,000. And he had an incredible sense of humor. I just loved him so much.
Great. Laureen, I want to thank you very much for the live with us. I hope you come back again. And
Oh, I have
to
movies
to
coming
tell.
out. I have a couple of movies
Yes.
coming out.
Tell me
Future
about.
Punk.
Tell me about. Sure, sure. Tell me about the film. Sure.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please. Tell me about. Go ahead, please. Tell me
I have a movie called
about the
coming
two
out,
films.
Future Punks, Agrimon's
Yes.
Gate, which has been changed to the Devil's Left Hand, and The Beast Inside. It's a possession movie where I'm possessed, and I die. You think in the first scene, but I come back as a demon and an angel. So in the same sentence. I'm a demon and an angel. So it was a very, very exciting experience. And I have Staycation coming out, and that's about the pandemic, and it stars Olivia Diabo,
Yeah.
and Sadie Katz stars in The Beast Inside, and she's trying to exercise
Yes.
herself because nobody will
Yeah.
help her, and she's a wonderful, wonderful, talented actress, and so I've got a lot of movies coming
Yeah.
out, and I've got two A-list pictures coming out. Um, that I'm going to start shooting. They haven't come out yet. I start shooting one in July and one in October. And I can't say right now what they are because I have not signed the contracts, but um, I have been offered the parts for sure. So I'm very excited about that. But I also wanted to talk about hypertension. And hypertension is,
Yes.
uh, I went through a kidney transplant. I think you may know or may not know in the last October
Yes.
7th of last year. And I was in dialysis
Yes.
for 10 months. And then my sister Charmaine Anderson, God bless her, gave me her kidney because the waiting list is 8 to 10 years. And so I was in there, I think 9, 10 months. And I kept saying no to Charmaine, no, no, no. And then ultimately I said, yes, I will do it. I will do it. And I was afraid more for her than for myself. And it was quite the challenge.
Yes.
I never lived in fear. I always lived in faith. And so many people were freaked out and, oh my God, you're going to die, you're going to die. But I'm 100% better. I'm walking the dogs 3 miles a day, the pit bulls. And I just want people to take their hypertension medication, never miss a dose, because I stopped taking it for 3 years and it demolished my kidneys.
Yes.
So
Yes.
hypertension is deadly, and over 1 million people have it in America and don't even know, and it just demolishes your kidneys. I didn't know what the silent killer was, and hypertension is when the force of the blood uh, pushes against your force of the blood pushes against your arteries, and it also hurt your heart. But I was lucky enough to get my transplant, and so, but by the grace of God, my Lord, and Charmaine, my sister Charmaine, who gave me her life. So I'm taking very good care of myself, changed my diet completely, and my creatinine levels are excellent. And I feel better now than I did a year ago, 2 years ago. So I just want to make sure
Excellent.
that you take hypertension medication. It's very, very important.
Yes. I'm very happy you became well, Laureen, and also it's very beautiful what your sister did for you, huh?
Yes, she's an
And
angel. I
yes.
call my I call my kidney Saint Charmaine. And what they do with kidneys, they don't take out the kidneys at all. They add a
Yes.
kidney in the front, 2 centimeters
Yes.
below the skin. So it's in the
Yes.
front,
Yes.
and, and
Yes.
they don't take out the bad ones anymore. They just leave them in there. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
Charmaine Anderson, my sister, God bless her, saved my life.
Yes.
So I'm very, very grateful for her.
Yes. This is Laureen. I want to thank you very much for this
Thank
live.
you.
I wish you all the best with the release of your films, and I hope you don't do many stunts like before. Okay.
Thank Thank you. Please follow me on Instagram, Laurene_Landon. Um,
We'll do that,
and
and you follow me as well.
yeah,
I will follow you, and you follow me.
thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
Yes. I
you.
look forward for your news and say hi to
God bless.
everybody. Thank you very much.
Hello,
Yeah. God
everybody.
bless
Hi,
everybody.
everybody.
Hello. Take care.
God bless
Take care.
you. God
Bye.
bless.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, how do I turn this?